mission for today is to unpack a stack of wildly diverse sources that you shared with us. And when I say diverse, I mean we are looking at a truly chaotic mix of documents today.
Chaotic is definitely the word for it.
Right. We've got incredibly dry, heavily structured corporate legal filings. We've got this sprawling, totally fragmented streaming discography. We have cryptic transcripts from live psychedelic performance videos.
Yeah.
And maybe most surprisingly, a live dashboard from an autonomous AI system.
It really is an eclectic collection of data points. I mean, at first glance, they look like they belong to completely different industries.
Completely. But as you dig in, all of these seemingly disconnected threads, they weave together to form the picture of this fascinating, multi-layered indie music project known as Blue Turban Stone.
Exactly. And, while you might just be tuning in because you're insanely curious about how modern art is made, or maybe you're looking for some new perspectives on the music industry, this deep dive is going to serve as a shortcut to understanding the actual future of independent art.
Yeah, it really is a masterclass in how raw creativity, rigid legal structure, and cutting-edge tech can all intersect.
It's the blueprint.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with the music and the artist himself, because the creative output documented here is massive. We were talking about an artist named Mark Wood.
Right, based out of Kailua Kona, Hawaii.
Yes, the mastermind behind the Blue Turban Stone project.
And the musical aesthetic he's crafted is highly distinctive. Based on the discography sources and the platform descriptions we have, Wood is fusing psychedelic music, funk, soul, and rock.
It's a real blend.
It is. But what really stands out in the source material are the thematic tags he actively attaches to this music. You don't just see standard genre labels like indie rock or neo-soul.
No, not at all.
You see tags like dystopia, prophecy, and a really evocative one, hip-hop abstracto.
Hip-hop abstracto. It paints such a vivid picture before you even press play. And speaking of pressing play, I was looking at the sheer volume of his work, and I have to admit, it's a bit overwhelming.
Oh, absolutely.
The sources show there are over 1,400 songs sitting on Reverb Nation alone.
That is a staggering amount of output for any single artist.
It is. And to even get a full picture of the Blue Turban Stone discography, you can't just go to one centralized place.
Right.
You actually have to manually piece together his catalog across Spotify, Apple Music, Bandcamp, and Reverb Nation. It's completely fragmented. I have to wonder, is a 1,400-song fragmented catalog actually a good thing? Or is it just an uncurated mess for a new listener trying to discover him?
That's a very fair critique. From a traditional music industry standpoint, it's a mess.
Yeah.
A major label would never allow that. They want a polished, heavily marketed 10-track album with a clear narrative.
Give us the hit singles, right?
Exactly. But that fragmentation is actually typical of a fiercely independent artist who is pushing out content constantly over years without a traditional gatekeeper to standardize the metadata or package everything neatly.
That makes sense.
Instead of a curated gallery, you're walking into a sprawling, living archive of the artist's brain.
A living archive is a great way to put it. Just to give you a flavor of the art we're dealing with, let me list some of these memorable track and album titles from the sources.
Let's hear them.
So, in 2022, there was a main album project reference called Mushroom Revelation.
Classic psychedelic title.
Right, but then you look at the singles and EPs scattered around, and you find titles like Tears of Gaza, Pimpin' Larry, I'll Be You, Scooby-Doo.
Which is just fantastic.
And some incredibly specific high-concept titles like Pimpin' Particle Theory, To the Plant Scale, and Kiss the AI Ring or Play Guitar.
Those titles alone show an artist who is entirely unbothered by commercial radio standards. He is blending the deeply spiritual, the highly political, and the entirely surreal.
Totally unbothered.
But to fully grasp Blue Turban Stone, you also have to look at the performance aspect noted in the files. Wood is a true one-man band.
Literally playing everything.
Everything. The sources explicitly note that he handles the vocals, the bass guitar, the lead guitars, and the drums all by himself.
Tracking all of those instruments alone is physically and mentally demanding enough. But he puts it all out there on video, too. The sources mention these YouTube performance videos, like one titled Trip 1080p, uploaded to a channel called The Big Island Reporter.
Right, the visuals are a huge component.
Yeah, it apparently combines his live instrumentation with these trippy, psychedelic visual effects.
And we actually have a fragment of an auto-generated transcript from one of these live performance videos in the stack.
We do, and it reads exactly like you'd expect a psychedelic funk jam to read. Let me pull it up. It says, yellow in his whole life foreign. Let's show them how to do that. Dangerously bring it down. Just get your friends. Get out of here, all right?
It's pure stream of consciousness.
It feels raw, loose, and completely unfiltered.
Yeah.
You can almost picture him in a room in Hawaii, surrounded by instruments, just channeling this energy.
What's fascinating here is the stark contrast between that loose, trippy, almost chaotic artistic persona operating out in Hawaii and the rigidly formalized, meticulous corporate structure that is actually holding the entire project together behind the scenes.
You're not kidding. When you map it all out, the architecture is brilliant, but it's such a drastic shift in tone. Let's look at the legal documents we have, because I was genuinely amazed at how formalized this indie project actually is.
And then it's night and day.
You hear psychedelic, funk rock, one-man band from Hawaii singing about the Planck scale.
Yeah.
And you certainly don't picture a stack of notarized corporate filings from the Midwest.
No, you really don't. But that is exactly what we have in the source material. On June 16th, 2020, a legal entity named Blue Turban Stone Music, LLC, was officially formed in the state of Missouri.
Right. And we have the draft operations agreement here. It outlines a very formal partnership. Mark Wood, the artist in Hawaii, holds a 75% ownership stake. The remaining 25% is held by a man named David Whitt. And Wick isn't just a passive investor or a silent partner. The agreement lists him as the registered agent, the general manager, and the general counsel. And he is operating out of Rock Hill, Missouri.
Which highlights the remote, decentralized nature of this partnership. You have the creative engine running in the Pacific Ocean and the legal and administrative shield operating out of the Midwest.
Exactly. And that draft operations agreement is crucial for understanding the intent behind this entire operation. It explicitly states that this isn't just a guy casually uploading 1,400 songs to the internet for fun.
No, this is highly strategic.
It's a legally fortified business structured specifically to expand into national and international markets. The contract details their plans to exploit commercial markets, including recordings, live appearances, movies, television broadcasts, streaming, and associated merchandise.
They are essentially building a moat around the intellectual property.
They really are. I want to highlight some of the nitty-gritty financial details from this contract for you, just to ground us in how serious this operation is. According to the agreement, Witt's compensation as general manager and counsel is set at a salary of 15% of the LLC's gross income.
That's a pretty standard management cut.
True, but what caught my eye is their incredibly strict cash flow plan.
Yes, the operations agreement explicitly prioritizes external funding to protect the founding members' own capital.
Right. The contract outlines a very specific waterfall for how they handle any shortfalls in cash flow. First, they're supposed to tap into existing credit lines.
Makes sense.
If that's not enough, they look for financing from clients or lenders. And then the third option is factoring their accounts receivable.
Which is a very specific corporate finance mechanism.
Actually, let's pause there, just to clarify for anyone who hasn't run a corporate finance department. Factoring basically means they're selling their outstanding invoices to a third party at a slight discount to get immediate cash, right?
Exactly right.
It's a way to keep money flowing without taking on traditional heavy bank debt.
Spot on. It's a mechanism to accelerate cash flow. If a TV network owes them $10,000 for licensing a song, but won't pay for 90 days, factoring allows them to get, say, $9,000 of that tomorrow from a third-party factor so they can keep operating.
It's just wild to see that level of financial engineering applied to a psychedelic indie rock project.
It is unusual.
The agreement even states that the members themselves, Wood and Whitt, are the absolute last resort for operating capital. And if they do have to dip into their own pockets to fund the LLC, the company issues them promissory notes at a 2% interest rate. Even their own salaries are deferred if the cash flow requires it, and those deferred salaries also earn that 2% interest.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it is incredibly rare and frankly incredibly smart for an independent music artist to have such a meticulously documented corporate safety net. We constantly hear stories about artists being taken advantage of or going bankrupt because they entirely lack business acumen.
All the time.
But here, they have established an LLC that explicitly elects to be taxed as a sub-S corporation.
Which, again, for those not deep in tax law, just means the business itself isn't taxed at the corporate level. The profits and losses pass through directly to Wood and Whitt's personal tax returns, which avoids double taxation.
Exactly. It's an efficiency play. They even included clauses in this draft agreement to purchase key person insurance for both Wood and Whitt once cash flow permits.
That stood out to me, too. Key person insurance is essentially a life insurance policy that the company takes out on its most crucial executives.
Mm.
If something happens to Mark Wood, the creative engine, or David Whitt, the legal engine, the business gets a payout to ensure it survives the loss of its foundational pillars.
It's serious risk management.
This is Fortune 500 level structural thinking applied to an indie music catalog.
It's an ironclad foundation. But a foundation doesn't run the day-to-day operations. You have the artist in Hawaii, you have the corporate counsel in Missouri, but who is actively pitching the TV shows? Who is fulfilling the merchandise orders and managing the social media communities?
Here's where it gets really interesting. Looking at this live dashboard from the source stack, I'm seeing a feed for something called the Revelation Portal. It explicitly mentions an AI record label command center operating with 10 autonomous agents. Can you walk me through what we're actually looking at here?
Absolutely. The Revelation Portal is the administrative backbone of the modern Blue Turban Stone project. Blue Turban Stone is essentially being managed and operated by a staff of 10 autonomous AI agents.
Wow.
They aren't just algorithms suggesting songs, they are agents with specific job titles and active task lists.
I was reading through the active tasks on the dashboard, and it's fascinating to see what these AI agents are actually doing right now and the live data we have.
It's a bustling virtual office.
It really is. First, there's an agent titled the A&R Scout. Its current task is literally searching Instagram for the hashtag prophecy music, and its stated goal is identifying dystopian art collectives to connect with.
Notice how specific that is. It is actively seeking out online communities that match those exact niche thematic tags we discussed earlier in the artist's profile.
Right, the hip-hop abstracto tags.
Exactly. It's not just looking for generic music fans, it's looking for the exact subculture that will resonate with those dystopian themes.
That is so smart. Then there's the licensing agent, which the dashboard says is currently researching TV placement opportunities for the catalog. You've got an e-commerce agent, which is actively fulfilling merchandise orders in the background.
Handling the physical goods.
Yeah. And there is a fan engagement agent whose current task is hosting a Discord listening party and sending exclusive tracks to subscribers.
It's automating the entire promotional and logistical wing of a traditional record label.
I have to push back on that a little, though.
Oh.
The dashboard says an AI is hosting a Discord listening party. Can an AI actually replicate authentic fan engagement? Doesn't a fan of an underground dystopian art collective eventually want to talk to a real human? Or at least feel like they are connecting with the artist?
That is the ultimate tension with this model. Can you automate authenticity? The sources don't detail exactly what the AI says in that Discord server, but the fact that it's tasked with hosting implies it's managing the stream, welcoming users, and distributing the exclusive tracks.
Right.
It might not be pretending to be Mark Wood, but it is facilitating the community space so Mark Wood doesn't have to spend hours typing in a chat room instead of making music.
That's a fair point. It frees up the creative. And tying all of these specialized bots together is the manager. I see the label manager, orchestration, and strategy agent listed here.
Yes. It oversees the other 9 agents. According to the system performance report on the dashboard, this manager agent is currently operating with a 94% efficiency rating.
94%.
It is continuously analyzing the performance of the other agents, adjusting their parameters, and planning the next phase rollout for the project.
Let's talk about the results of all this orchestration, because the dashboard provides hard financial statistics, and this is where the theory becomes reality. The portal shows $45,500 in total revenue.
Not bad for a one-man indie operation.
Not at all. But the breakdown of that revenue is what I think tells the true story of the modern music industry. Out of that $45,500, a full $12,000 comes from film and TV licensing.
Yeah.
Another $8,500 comes from direct e-commerce sales, which is the merchandise. But only $500 comes from streaming.
That disparity is incredibly telling.
$500 from streaming. At a $45,000 total. I mean, to put that in perspective, $500 from streaming equates to roughly what? Maybe 125,000 or 150,000 individual plays on a major platform like Spotify.
That sounds about right.
Meanwhile, a single successful TV placement orchestrated by their AI licensing agent netted them $12,000.
Yeah.
It fundamentally proves that the traditional industry narrative, the hustle for streams and get on playlist model, is economically backward for an independent artist.
It entirely changes the math of being a musician. For the last decade, artists have been told their primary goal is to drive up their Spotify monthly listeners. But this data shows that streaming is essentially just a loss leader.
Just a marketing expense.
Exactly. It's a discovery tool, not a primary revenue stream. The real money is in B2B licensing and direct-to-consumer physical goods.
And when you map it all out, the architecture is brilliant. You have one guy, Mark Wood, making deeply personal, trippy funk rock in Hawaii. He is legally and financially shielded by a tight LLC agreement drafted in Missouri that protects his assets and sets clear operational rules.
Yep.
And he is using a 10-agent AI system in the cloud to manage a highly profitable, self-sustaining ecosystem. The AI handles the networking, the sales, the sync licensing, and according to the live activity stream on the portal, all of the revenue these agents generate flows seamlessly and automatically into a single PayPal account under the name The Big Island Reporter.
It is a perfectly closed-loop system of creation, administration, and monetization.
Yeah.
It completely bypasses the traditional gatekeepers of the music industry.
So what does this all mean? Let's zoom out from the dashboard and the legal filings. How did we get here?
To really understand what this means, we have to look briefly at the history behind the artist, which is tucked away in our source material. The source would point out that Blue Turban Stone is actually part of a larger entity called the Wood Brothers Music Group.
Right, I saw that mentioned.
This group has a long documented legacy of early internet pioneering. The sources specifically credit them with launching the world's first internet-based coalition for the formation of a United States of Africa.
That is a massive leap from just uploading songs to Reverb Nation.
Right.
We're talking about early internet community building on a geopolitical scale.
Precisely. So this isn't just a musician who suddenly discovered ChatGPT yesterday and decided to make a bot. This is an artist with a decades-long history of utilizing digital networks to build global communities and route around traditional power structures.
They've been doing this all along.
They have always used technology as a lever. The 10-agent AI record label is just the latest iteration of a philosophy they've held for years.
And that ties directly back to why you should care about this deep dive today. Blue Turban Stone isn't just a quirky music project with some sci-fi track titles. It is a living, breathing blueprint for modern independence. For decades, creators have been told they have to surrender to traditional systems, major record labels, massive PR firms, predatory streaming platforms, just to survive and reach an audience.
They were told that without a massive corporate apparatus, you couldn't handle the logistics of a global music career.
Exactly. But this project proves you don't need to be overwhelmed by that traditional system. You don't need to sign away your master recordings to get an A&R rep or a licensing deal. If you cleverly combine your raw artistic output with a bulletproof legal framework and cutting-edge autonomous tech, you can build your own machine.
That is the core takeaway. The barriers to entry for running a multinational media company have essentially fallen to zero, provided you have the right structural blueprint. I want to encourage you to think critically about this for a moment. What stands out to you about this model?
It's a great question.
Is it the undeniable data that streaming pays almost nothing compared to licensing and merch? Or is it the realization that by using AI to run direct licensing at scale, being a niche independent artist suddenly becomes a highly viable, highly lucrative business model?
It's paradigm shifting. It takes the power completely away from the platforms and puts it back in the hands of the creator. To summarize the incredible journey we've been on today, we started on the psychedelic, funk rock shores of Hawaii with a one-man band pouring his soul into over 1,000 fragmented tracks. We traveled to the rigid, heavily structured LLC filing cabinets of Missouri to see how that art is legally protected and financially engineered.
And finally, we ascended into the cloud.
Right, looking at a 10-agent AI command center that works tirelessly to market, license, and monetize that art without a single human intern in sight.
This raises an important question, though. We saw on the dashboard that the AI label manager is currently operating at 94% efficiency. It is successfully handling the business administration, the networking, the scouting, and the community engagement. At what point does a one-man band actually become a machine-human hybrid?
Oh, wow.
The artist provides the seed, but the machine grows the forest. And if the AI gets efficient enough at successfully analyzing the market, interpreting the data, and selling the art, how long until it decides to start creating the music itself?
If the AI A&R scout knows exactly what the hashtag prophecy music audience wants to hear, maybe it just generates the audio to match. That is a heavy, heavy thought to leave off on. We will let you mull that one over on your own as you explore the boundaries of your own created projects. Thank you so much for joining us on this custom-tailored deep dive. We hope you've found some amazing aha moments in this stack of sources and feel a little more equipped to navigate the future of digital art. Remember to keep learning, keep asking questions, and we will see you next time.